Pikachu is perhaps one of the most recognizable non-human characters on this entire planet, and it's not even close. The small electric mouse has captivated audiences of all ages for its cheerful demeanor and cute disposition, but what casual enjoyers of the show and games don't realize is that this small ball of electricity packs little more than a mild shock. Messing with a Pikachu is canonically the fastest way for a person to find out whether or not the afterlife is real, but how could this small, cuddly-looking creature be any more than it seems? Have we seriously understated the mascot of the show? Well, let's find out together. Well, to understand just how much of a threat this cute little beast is, we have to take into account the Pikachu we see both on the show and in the games, because both are two halves of the same puzzle. And trust me, when you put the two together, it's even more surprising than you think. This Pokemon may have been introduced in the first generation, but it remains as a threat even to the newest Pokemon, regardless of their fancy Z moves, G-Max forms, and Mega Evolutions. There's something about Pikachu that we can't pin down because, from what we know and have seen, Pikachu's durability is just insane or flat-out nonsensical. We have seen Ash's Pikachu in situations where even legendary Pokemon would dread to step in, as it has bravely fought against some of the strongest Pokemon in the series and even against Legendaries. It's absolutely unheard of that a small electric-type Pokemon could rival Pokemon that have trained their entire lives or were born with the powers to command the seas and skies, and yet, in the show, we see Pikachu consistently do just that. But there are moments that are rather confusing, like the fact that Pikachu sometimes gets taken down by attacks itself. One moment in the series is when Ash fights Paul and Pikachu gets consistently taken down by Paul's Elekid, another electric type. Pikachu always finds its most consistent match in Paul's Elekid, who, as the season goes on, evolves into Electabuzz and then Electivire. To be fair, Paul's Electivire is considered to be one of the most efficient and battle-smart Pokemon that has come onto the show, as it was shown some of Ash's best Pokemon and still came out on top. Even so, we have seen Pikachu take on some very heavy hitters like Agron and Frostlass and get out on top. Although Pikachu in the show is consistently given the benefit of speed over power, it often falls short in the games. The Pikachu that we see on the show is one that is not just buffed out from years of fighting, but also covered with plot armor to a great extent. Don't believe me? Well, like we told you earlier, we do see Pikachu fight Electivire and lose, albeit in a weakened state, but there are many other fights that, when you take them into account, make absolutely zero sense as to how powerful Pikachu is. Well, the first one we will look at is Pikachu's battle against Steven's shiny Metagross, a Pokemon that is arguably one of the most intimidating of all time. Metagross would Mega Evolve from the start, giving it superior stats, and absolutely toss about Pikachu at the start of the battle. It is clearly understood that Metagross is stronger, and yet we see Pikachu use one Z move and Iron Tail, and down went Metagross. The next battle we have to talk about is Pikachu fighting Latios, a Pokemon that is not just a strong opponent, but also a legendary Pokemon. At the end of the battle, you'd think a strong dragon/psychic type like Latios with Luster Purge would make quick work of Pikachu, and yet we see Pikachu tying with Latios. But if you thought that was absurd, let me show you something even crazier. Remember the fight Ash had with Drake? Drake was arguably the strongest opponent Ash has ever faced to date, just because of one single Pokemon in his roster, Dragonite. Drake's Dragonite is one of those Pokemon that you just can't fool. The usually sweet-looking gentle giant took Ash and his entire Pokemon roster for a spin, but it was Pikachu that finally brought Dragonite down after 2 whole episodes of that one Dragonite dragging Ash's team to the grave. While you can argue that Pikachu showed greater agility and evaded a lot of attacks thrown at him, you just can't make that argument in the battle where he fought and defeated Brandon's Regis. Pikachu's battle with Regis seemed like an absolute loss from the start, as it took several hits from Regis's Ice Beam, and yet Pikachu still came out on top. So it's important for us to ask the question, what really is the source of Pikachu's strength? Well, it's not easy to answer because it seems like Pikachu's strength varies from season to season. The power scaling in the series is quite absurd in its own sense, as we see Pikachu pull off all these crazy feats and then go ahead and lose to a level 5 Snivy. This is why it's difficult to understand how Pikachu works. And if you still aren't convinced as to just how overpowered Pikachu is, if we take a look at the movie Arceus and the Jewel of Life, we see the creation trio, Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, the gods of space, time, and antimatter, struggle to even get a hit on their celestial father, Arceus. Arceus just keeps changing its type to negate every move that's thrown at him, and throws down Judgment, Hyper Beam, and a plethora of other moves catered specifically to take down his sons, and yet Ash's Pikachu, which is just a small yellow electric Pokemon, ends up landing a Thunderbolt on the god of the Pokemon universe. Okay, so we've established that Pikachu in the shows is a strong contender for the replacement of Arceus, but what about when we look at Pikachu in the games? Well, the games seem to treat Pikachu for what it seems to be. While a good starter Pokemon, Pikachu fails to contend with the heavy hitter of any game. It has low health and defense, with the only stat that seems to be even worth considering being its speed stat, which is at a solid 90. Even so, Pikachu just doesn't seem to have the stats to take on the heavy hitters of the game, but this statement is only partially true, as Pikachu may function as a great glass cannon, as Pikachu has the ability to learn any and all electric-type moves. Even moves like Thunder is not forbidden from it, so if you can use an item like a Focus Sash, you can make Pikachu tank surefire KO moves and drop one strong attack before being taken out. So what then is the verdict on our small yellow friend over here? Is he just a cute small mascot Pokemon, or is Pikachu a destructive tank that is not to be taken lightly? Well, the honest answer is that Pikachu is a little bit of both. You can't argue against the fact that Pikachu is cute, but when it comes to power scaling, we have to take into account several moments from the show and apply them to the game. When it comes to Ash's Pikachu in particular, we can't take its performance as a definite measure, as plot armor is something that is very real in the Pokemon universe. If you think that isn't true, just take a look at the fight against the gym leaders Tate and Liza in the show. When it's shown to us that taking down the Solrock and Lunatone combo is nigh impossible, the show pulls off something that we haven't seen to date. Pikachu, who's riding on the back of Swellow, shoots a Thunderbolt into the sky, and it somehow returns down and strikes Pikachu and Swellow, covering them in yellow electricity armor, which they use to break through the duo's protection and take them down. I think it is safe to assume that, while canonically, Pikachu is not the biggest threat in the Pokemon universe, Ash's Pikachu certainly is. Even when the entities of time and space itself fail, Pikachu comes to the rescue, so if that isn't dangerous, then I don't know what is.